Yeah, good morning. Just back down the shed again this morning. Progressing with the Ford Fuselage part of the build. I spent, maybe 6 odd hours, probably 8 hours realistically down here yesterday, not actually working totally on the aeroplane. Did a bit of research in and around the seatbelt, where the seatbelt's attached to the fuselage themselves. They call it a seatbelt attach assembly when it's completed, and it goes back onto and fixes against a seatbelt attach angle, channel, that'll do. And there's a lot of work in that, and I had to commit to completing it off with rivets, everything, because there's just no room to put clecos in. And I also did a lot of adjustments to the actual workspace. I moved some saw stools and that sort of thing to allow myself some aft access via the underside of the tail cone. So let's just have a bit of a look. We'll flip the camera around and we'll go on to 0.5. Okay, so starting off just here, I've just given myself, I moved that saw stool there backwards. I can actually fit inside there now and allow myself to come over forward and lean over, rather than try to sort of lean over here all the time. It's getting to the point where it's getting quite tight in there. I could probably disassemble the fuselage from the tail cone, which would give me more room, but even so, even if I did do that, I'm still going to have the same access inside here. Again, it's just one of those things. I think we just have to accept that it's going to get tight. Right, assembly is I've completed this assembly and just temporarily clecoed it in spot through the given pilot holes. That will allow me to from the underside of the sheet, to at least get all the clecos inside here and all through this section here, and also down that seatbelt attach angle channel assembly all through here. Weird names. That will also then allow me to put the gussets in there, the gusset in there, and complete this section off. I haven't been able to, I've just dry assembled this idler assembly as well, which just sort of fits down inside there. I'll just jump down inside there in a second and I'll go through it with you. So to complete this dry assembly of everything inside this Ford fuselage is that I still need to remove the Z off here, so I can drill from the backside through those holes into this angle, which attaches to the former on the outer formers. Now there's no pilot holes in that, so that's the first thing that has to happen. So the sheet will have to come off for that. Then I'll have to reassemble the sheet, I'm guessing, so then I could do all the pilot holes through there. That's no biggie. I also have to commit at some stage to drilling the pilot holes through that angle as well, both aft tail cone and forward fuselage. Those two will join together and go up through that, which I will do. So I'll have to reassemble that sheet at some stage, get it up to the copper cleco stage, and then disassemble it to allow myself some access and that sort of thing as I'm progressing at the moment. There's a whole bunch of work to go on this angle through here. Prior to committing to riveting off all of these. There's where the wings attach, the aft of the wings attach, not through the spar tunnel, but where the wings attach. I haven't even looked at what happens in there yet. I've just only seen it online with Gavin's videos and briefly looked at drawings, but again, that's a whole bunch of works in itself. I'm just treating section by section. I've near enough completed all of that, apart from the rudder pedal blocks that have to go in there. Again, they will require me to disassemble all of that so I can redo all of the mating surface with some primer and the like. I know that they sort of tell you to sort of rivet that off. Now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that dry at the moment, just so I can get those properly deburred. I'm a big fan of deburring, as you know. I've completed all of the all of these silver clecos all the way through to this line. Can you see my hand? From the firewall back to the spar tunnel here, I've completed all the silver clecos ready for upsizing. So jobs for this morning are just going to complete all of this. The two gussets are just under this gusset. Because of the difference in the thickness of the material of the long rod and the angle through there, there's a small little spacer to go in there, which I have to commit to putting in prior to drilling those, so that's all good. And again, there's two angles here. This angle or channel, I have got to put some 4, I think, or so clecos through there this morning. Then there's some AN bolts which will go onto the top of these, I believe, for that little angle. That finishes all that section off. But anyway, I will just sort of give you a bit of a rundown on where I'm at with everything. And just with this idler assembly, I'm just going to go inside here for a minute now. I'll just pause this. Okay, you can see from the forest of clecos here, 2 in the back of the formers, 2 in the back of the seatbelt attach assembly, another 2 in the seatbelt attach assembly and 2 in the formers. Plus this angle on the top of this component here, and the little angles here. Look, there's 6 million clecos down here, and when that sort of goes in there to give me the position of that, I can't even get pilot holes through that. So a lot of this is going to have to be at least riveted off. It has to be, otherwise I don't have any way of getting drill bits in there. So if that's sort of, if this sheet here is all clecoed to here, at least it's given me the, you'll see how that idler assembly just moved up and down then. So that gives me the height right. North and south is fine because it's pretty much tight in there. And oh god, it's really tight down here. Oh, I just banged my head. Through here there's a small set out center line which gives you the left and right position of that. Making sense? Good. Alright, let's get on and start building and drilling, at least anyway, to the underside, and I'll come back to you shortly. Hi and welcome back. Pretty much closing off for the day now. We'll just give a quick rundown on what has been completed. So all of the underside of the sheet is now piloted with 332s, excluding where it joins the tail cone and the forward fuselage. So that section of aluminium angle through there, or channel through there, is yet to be done. I'm going to put the underside of the sheet back on the tail cone and then use the pilot holes that are subsequently in the underside of the fuselage sheet as my guide. And that should see the last of the set out done for the underside of the sheets. I have completed, I'll just flip that camera around. I have done that gussets on that corner and the gusset down this corner, all completed. The 2 outer floor formers are all done. I've removed the Z off the forward spar tunnel so I can gain access to the pilot holes that were already inside the spar tunnel aft, over there and there. I have just put some masking tape and my black line on here ready for when the floor pan sheet goes on, and that's pretty much it. It's all set out. When you're doing these set outs, you always self-doubt yourself, and you look at a drawing, you come over here, that doesn't look right, blah 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 blah. So it's always slow to go with, and once you sort of get past this stage and you start to upsize and deburr, it sort of powers on a little bit more. But anyway, we're all closing off for the day. I am happy with everything so far. We'll just look from this way. It all looks good to me. So I'm going to close this one off now, edit it through the week, or I might add some more to this so it's a little bit more of a. I think it's only around about sort of 7 or 8 minutes of footage, so we might just expand it a little bit through next weekend. We'll see how I go. Anyway, hope you're enjoying so far. Talk with you all soon. Hi, and welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been down in the shed. Just been doing a whole bunch of stuff around the house for a couple of weeks there, just laying some turf for prior to the onset of summer, so the turf has a bit of a chance to grow, or at least bed in before the warmer weather starts. and just a whole bunch of, you know, leftover painting on the house, pavers, a bit of work around the front of the house, some new plants, just to tidy it up a little bit. And yeah, so back down on the shed again today. I've been sort of down here a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, but it's just been odds and ends. It wasn't worth filming or anything like that. So I'm just going to do a wrap up to this video on all of the things that are or have been completed. It may not look like a lot is done, but I can assure you a lot of the little tiny nitpicky things that drive us crazy. So I'll just go through them one by one. Okay, starting off at the left side, the right side fuselage. I have started to rivet, as you can see. I'm only going to rivet to this point here at the moment. I'm not going to rivet down here yet. I find it easier to take that component out with the aft spar tunnel, probably assemble it all on the bench and then slip it back in spot as one unit, rather than fiddle around with you know, squeezing it through or whatever like that. I think it's a lot easier to, if I can do that off the bench, which I will do. I'm not going to commit to this yet, being the back of the floor formers, the angle there, it's just too hard to get in through that angle, so I'll just leave that I'll just click out at the moment, and I'll rivet that off at a later stage. If I'd had my time over again, I probably would have left those rivets out so I can peel that skin back when I go to upsize these, but the contingency is that I will end up taking this whole fuselage off, and so I can get to the back side of those and, you know, deburr it a lot, deburr it enough as well. Now there's a whole bunch of that way I'm getting almost to the stage now where I can finish off the last frame, or the rib there, if you will, of the aft spar tunnel. That's almost ready to commit off now to be riveted. Once I do the angles and the componentry for the rear spar attach plate angles, whatever you want to call it. I've got it out on the bench now. I know that a couple of videos back there I said I hadn't even looked at it yet, but I have now, and it's, you know, it's not too bad of a thing. I've got the bolts in there for the seat belts there and over there. You can see I have also one big job which took quite a lot of time, is dimple all of the aft spar tunnel, and also countersunk, so dimple plus countersinking. These angles here have been obviously countersunk and primed, ready for riveting. As I said, they are easier to, this whole section is easier to come off as one unit, I believe, compared to just trying to do it in bits and pieces, or as the drawings are sort of say. So I'm just moving away from the drawings a little bit. I found my own way of doing it, I believe, and it makes sense to me. Also too, I have had this sheet on and off a few times, the underside sheet. I had forgotten to do the 5-degree bend at the back there, where it meets the aft, where the aft fuselage meets the aft tail cone, or the forward of the aft tail cone, or the aft fuselage. The fuselage, the tail cone sheet isn't bent. It's the fuselage sheet that bends back up to the tail cone itself. So it's all good. The long rods have all been disassembled and primed and deburred. I've done those in 1/8. Nothing through the center of here is upsized to 1/8 yet, and the long rod on that side has been done. As I said, I've started to commit to riveting. All good. I have also upsized all of the AN bolts, excluding this section through here, only because there's the windscreen componentry to go around there, and I'll do that at the the windscreen sheet, which has to be drilled through these sections as well. So all that'll be just left off completely. It's all been coppered up to this point, and that's the only section that has to be AM bolts. I've noticed that there's a couple of different styles of AM bolts, and here there's a MS screw, I think they call it. It's got a countersunk head on it. For what reason, I don't know yet, but they're there, and I believe two there. I think that's got to do with the canopy when it comes back down on top, which gives you a flush fit there. So as I said, all the AM bolts have all been done everywhere now, all upsized, all the way through. The only thing I've got to do now is upsize the firewall, underside of the sheet, excluding the long ones because I've already done it, and it's basically ready to start to assemble up. Now there's a little bit of work around here again. As I said before, I've got to probably commit to riveting the backs of those little angle attachments for the idler arm to go on, and that will be a sort of a 2 or 3 step process before I do that. Now I've also bought a reamer for the idler. There are press fitting that goes in. There's a little brass or something fitting that goes in, and I bought a little reamer tool. I don't know where he is. He's over there somewhere, just to sort of upsize the hole in the idler through here, just to progressively ream it out so it's a press fitting. And I think there's quite a number of little press fittings that we've got to do actually in the kit as well, so I'll probably be buying some more tools by the looks of things. But anyway, I think I'll just close off now, and I will post this through the week and have a good go at getting a lot of this riveted off next weekend. I have an inspection coming up, and I would like to have a little bit more done before he comes and inspects the work so far. Anyway, I will chat with you all soon. Hope you're enjoying. Talk with you soon. Bye.